BTS News Today. On December 21, 2025, something extraordinary happened in the digital space where BTS and ARMY have always met without walls. Without heavy promotions, without dramatic countdowns on official schedules, a simple notification lit up millions of phones around the world. BTS had gone live on Weverse. Not one member, not two, but all 7, OT7 together in the same frame. Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook appeared side by side, relaxed, smiling, and visibly comfortable in one another's presence. In a year filled with speculation, silence, rumors, and fragmented appearances, this moment felt like a deep collective exhale for fans across continents. From the first second of the broadcast, the energy was unmistakable. There was no stiffness, no sense of formality. The members looked like 7 brothers who had finally found a quiet evening to sit together after a long journey. The room was simple, softly lit, with casual seating that immediately set the tone. RM sat slightly forward, instinctively ready to lead the conversation, while Jin leaned back with a familiar, confident ease. Suga's calm gaze carried depth. J-Hope's bright expressions filled the screen with warmth. Jimin stayed close to Jungkook. V alternated between thoughtful silence and sudden humor, and Jungkook, eyes shining, looked happier than many fans had seen him in months. What made this Weverse live so powerful was not a single announcement or dramatic revelation, but the overwhelming sense of togetherness. For a group that has spent years redefining what global success looks like, this live felt intentionally intimate. It wasn't about stages or charts. It was about presence, about reassurance, about showing the world without saying it directly that BTS remains 7. As the comments exploded in real time, armies from every corner of the globe flooded the screen with hearts, tears, and messages of disbelief. Many fans admitted later that they froze, unable to process what they were seeing. OT7 lives are rare, and each one carries historical weight. December 21, 2025, instantly joined that sacred timeline. Jin opened the conversation with humor, as expected, joking about how long it took them to finally sit still together without someone teasing or interrupting. His voice was steady, confident, carrying the warmth of someone who knows how deeply he has been missed. The members laughed easily, interrupting him, correcting his words, and teasing him back. It felt natural, almost domestic, like a family dinner rather than a global broadcast watched by millions. RM gently steered the conversation, acknowledging how long it had been since they last appeared together like this. He didn't over-explain. He didn't offer corporate language. Instead, he spoke slowly, choosing words that felt personal. He talked about time, about growth, about how each member had been walking their own paths while still carrying BTS in their hearts. His eyes moved across the members as he spoke, as if grounding himself in their presence. Suga, known for speaking when it truly matters, added a quiet but powerful layer to the moment. He talked about comfort, about how being together again in one space reminded him why they started. His tone was soft, almost reflective, and fans immediately sensed that his words came from a place of honesty rather than performance. There was no grand promise, no forced optimism, just truth. J-Hope shifted the mood effortlessly, clapping his hands and smiling wide, saying how happy he was to see everyone healthy and smiling. His laughter felt contagious, lifting the emotional weight without erasing it. He spoke about energy, about how being together recharged him in a way nothing else could. Watching him interact with the members felt like watching the heartbeat of BTS itself. Jimin's presence throughout the live was particularly moving. He didn't speak constantly, but when he did, his words landed with emotional clarity. He talked about missing moments like this, about how even simple things like shared laughter felt precious now. At one point, he glanced at Jungkook and smiled, a small, unspoken exchange that fans immediately noticed. The closeness between them felt genuine, unforced, and deeply reassuring. V alternated between thoughtful silence and sudden bursts of humor, staying true to his unique rhythm. He shared how strange yet comforting it felt to be sitting together again on camera, knowing how much meaning it held for fans. His expressions were soft, his tone sincere, and when he laughed, it felt like a reminder of the playful soul that has always defined him. Then there was Jungkook. For many armies, seeing Jungkook like this was the most emotional part of the live. He looked lighter, more at ease. His smiles came easily, his laughter unguarded. When he spoke, his voice carried gratitude. He thanked fans for waiting, for trusting, for staying. He admitted that being together like this made him feel safe. That single word resonated deeply. Safe. Throughout the broadcast, the members constantly leaned toward one another, interrupted each other mid-sentence, shared inside jokes, and reacted instinctively to each other's words. There was no script, no obvious structure, just 7 people who know each other so well that silence itself felt meaningful. What stood out most was how synchronized they felt emotionally. Even when the topic shifted, there was an unspoken understanding between them. When one member became quiet, another naturally filled the space. When emotions ran close to the surface, humor softened the moment. This balance is something only BTS can do, and it reminded everyone why their bond has always been at the core of their success. Fans quickly noticed how physically close they were seated, a small but powerful detail. In an industry where distance often symbolizes separation, their closeness spoke volumes. Arms brushed, shoulders leaned, glances were exchanged. These subtle gestures reassured fans more than any official statement ever could. The live also carried an undercurrent of reflection. December, after all, is a month associated with endings and beginnings. Without explicitly framing it that way, BTS allowed that energy to flow naturally. They spoke about learning, about patience, about how time apart had changed their perspectives. Not one of them spoke as if BTS was behind them. Instead, BTS felt present, alive, evolving. As the minutes passed, the viewer count continued to climb, breaking Weverse records once again. Social media platforms erupted simultaneously, with hashtags related to OT7 trending worldwide within minutes. Screenshots, clips, translations, and emotional reactions spread at lightning speed. The world stopped, if only briefly, to watch 7 men sit together and exist. Near the end of the live, Jin jokingly complained about how emotional everyone was getting, trying to lighten the mood. But even he couldn't fully hide the significance of the moment. RM thanked fans once again, his voice steady but sincere. Suga nodded quietly. J-Hope waved enthusiastically. Jimin smiled softly. V gave a small, thoughtful look to the camera. Jungkook lingered, waving just a second longer than the others. When the live finally ended, there was no dramatic farewell. No countdown, just a simple goodbye. And yet the impact lingered far beyond the screen. For ARMY, this was more than content. It was reassurance. Proof that BTS's core remains untouched by time, distance, or change. In a year filled with questions, the OT7 Weverse Live on December 21, 2025 answered the most important one without saying it out loud. BTS is still BTS. 7 hearts. 1 team. And when they sit together, the world still listens. Long after the screen went dark, fans stayed awake, replaying moments, rewatching smiles, analyzing glances, and holding onto the warmth that only BTS can create. This wasn't just a live broadcast. It was a reminder of connection, of trust, of unity. And as armies around the world finally went to sleep, one feeling remained stronger than ever. Whatever comes next, BTS will face it together. OT7, always. The aftermath of the OT7 Weverse Live did not fade quietly. In the hours following the broadcast, the global response grew even louder, as if the world needed time to fully absorb what had just happened. Fans who initially watched in stunned silence began to articulate what the moment truly meant. It was not just nostalgia. It was not merely happiness. It was relief mixed with renewed belief. The kind of belief that BTS has always inspired, not through perfection, but through honesty and connection. Across social media, longtime armies shared stories of where they were when the notification appeared. Some were at work, secretly watching with earbuds hidden. Some were on public transport, fighting tears as they saw all 7 members together again. Others stayed awake past dawn, unwilling to sleep while BTS was live. The comments were filled with one recurring phrase: "They're really together." That sentence alone captured the emotional gravity of the night. Media outlets quickly picked up on the broadcast, describing it as a defining cultural moment of late 2025. Analysts noted how rare it is for a group of BTS's magnitude to maintain such visible unity after years of global fame, personal growth, and individual journeys. Yet the live did not feel like a strategic move. It felt spontaneous, human, and deeply personal. That authenticity is what made it resonate far beyond the fandom. One detail that continued to circulate was the way the members listened to each other. In an era of fast content and constant interruptions, watching BTS pause, nod, and react thoughtfully to each other's words felt almost radical. RM's leadership was quiet rather than commanding. Jin's humor never overshadowed others. Suga's silence carried as much weight as his words. J-Hope's energy felt nurturing rather than overwhelming. Jimin's emotional sensitivity anchored the conversation. V's artistic calm balanced the atmosphere. Jungkook's openness tied everything together. It was harmony in its purest form. Fans also noticed how the live subtly dismantled ongoing narratives about distance or disconnection within the group. Without addressing rumors directly, BTS allowed their interactions to speak for themselves. Inside jokes surfaced effortlessly. Memories were referenced casually, without explanation. These were not people trying to prove something. These were people who didn't need to. As translations of the live spread across languages, international fans echoed the same sentiment. The words themselves were comforting, but the body language told an even deeper story. BTS didn't just say they missed each other. They showed it. The way they leaned in, laughed at the same moments, and mirrored each other's reactions created a visual language of trust and familiarity that needed no subtitles. Industry experts later commented on how this live reinforced BTS's unique position in global music culture. While many artists rely on constant releases and public appearances to maintain relevance, BTS reminded the world that presence alone can be powerful. 7 people sitting together, speaking honestly, can command more attention than any elaborate production. As the night turned into morning in different time zones, armies continued to replay the final moments of the broadcast. Jungkook's lingering wave became symbolic, interpreted as a promise without words. Jin's playful scolding of the members for getting too sentimental felt like a protective gesture. RM's final look into the camera carried quiet confidence. Each ending frame felt intentional, even if it wasn't planned. In fan communities, discussions shifted from shock to reflection. Many spoke about how the live mirrored their own journeys with BTS, growing up together, changing, taking breaks, finding their way back. The OT7 Weverse Live didn't freeze BTS in the past. It showed them moving forward together with maturity and mutual respect. What made December 21, 2025 unforgettable was not just the reunion but the emotional clarity it brought. BTS did not promise timelines. They did not announce projects. They did not define the future. Instead, they offered something far more valuable: assurance. The assurance that whatever the future holds, it will be shaped by 7 voices, 7 perspectives, and 1 shared foundation. As days passed, the live continued to be referenced, quoted, and remembered. It became a benchmark moment, one that fans would return to during times of uncertainty. A reminder that BTS's strength has never come solely from music, but from the bond that fuels it. In the quiet after the global excitement settled, one truth remained undeniable. BTS did not just appear together on Weverse that night. They reasserted who they are at their core, not an image, not a brand, but 7 individuals choosing, again and again, to stand side by side. And for ARMY, that choice meant everything. As the days unfolded after the OT7 Weverse Live, its meaning continued to deepen rather than fade. What initially felt like an emotional reunion slowly revealed itself as a quiet turning point. Fans began to realize that this was not just a moment meant to calm hearts for one night, but a deliberate reminder of BTS's philosophy: connection over noise, sincerity over spectacle. Behind the scenes, sources close to the fandom culture observed how unusually long the conversation around this live lasted. Unlike typical broadcasts that dominate timelines for a few hours before being replaced by new content, this one lingered. Clips resurfaced repeatedly, not because of shock value, but because of comfort. Armies rewatched the same smiles, the same laughter, the same silences, as if returning to a familiar place during uncertain times. The silence between the members became one of the most discussed elements. In one brief moment, when no one spoke for a few seconds and all 7 simply sat there, smiling softly, fans described it as louder than any speech. That pause felt unedited, unfiltered, and deeply real. In a world that constantly demands explanations, BTS allowed stillness to exist, trusting that ARMY would understand. Cultural commentators also pointed out how the live subtly challenged the traditional narrative of idol longevity. Instead of presenting a perfectly polished image, BTS appeared comfortable with vulnerability. They didn't hide the passage of time. They acknowledged growth without framing it as loss. This approach resonated strongly with fans who themselves had grown alongside the group, navigating adulthood, change, and uncertainty. One particularly emotional topic that emerged in fan discussions was Jungkook's demeanor. Many ARMYs noted how different his energy felt compared to previous months. There was a calm confidence in the way he spoke, a steadiness in the way he listened. Being surrounded by all 6 members seemed to ground him, reinforcing the idea that BTS is not just a group for him, but a source of emotional stability. That realization touched fans deeply, especially those who have followed his journey from adolescence into adulthood. Jimin's quiet emotional intelligence also left a lasting impression. His careful choice of words, his attentive listening, and his instinctive closeness to the members reminded fans of the role he often plays within BTS. Not the loudest voice, but the emotional anchor. Many fans described feeling seen through him, as if he were speaking on behalf of everyone who had waited patiently. V's presence, often described as artistic and introspective, added another layer of depth. His thoughtful expressions and subtle humor balanced the atmosphere, reminding fans that BTS's strength lies in the diversity of their personalities. No one needed to dominate the space. Each member simply existed as they were. J-Hope's laughter, Jin's humor, RM's grounded leadership, and Suga's reflective calm formed a complete emotional spectrum. Together, they created a sense of wholeness that is rarely achieved, even in long-established groups. This balance is something BTS has cultivated over years of shared experiences, both joyful and painful. Industry insiders later speculated that the absence of major announcements was intentional. By not tying the live to a product or schedule, BTS allowed the focus to remain on human connection. This decision reinforced their reputation as artists who understand the power of restraint. Sometimes, the most impactful message is simply showing up. As ARMYs continued to dissect every frame, one recurring realization emerged. The OT7 Weverse Live was not about proving that BTS is still together. That fact had never truly been in question. It was about showing how they are together now. Older, wiser, more self-aware, still playful, still deeply bonded. The live also sparked conversations about trust. BTS trusted ARMY enough to appear without grand explanations. ARMY trusted BTS enough to accept that. This mutual understanding has always been the foundation of their relationship, and December 21, 2025 felt like a reaffirmation of that unspoken contract. Weeks from now, years from now, fans will likely return to this moment and remember how it felt. The warmth, the reassurance, the quiet strength. In the constantly shifting landscape of the music industry, BTS reminded the world that longevity is not sustained by constant noise, but by genuine connection. And so, the story of that night continues to live on, not as a headline, but as a feeling. A feeling that BTS, in all their evolution, remain rooted in the same place they began. Together. 7 voices, 7 paths, 1 shared heart. OT7 did not just appear on screen that night. They stood, once again, at the center of something far bigger than themselves.